Let's get right into it. You think you're in control of your body, right? You decide when to smile, when to wave, when to give that awkward half nod to someone you vaguely know from work. But you're wrong. Your body is a filthy, compulsive liar, or rather an uncontrollable truth teller. It's constantly screaming your inner thoughts to the world through a series of twitches, gestures, and postures you don't even know you're doing. This isn't about obvious stuff like crossing your arms. This is the deep-cut, grade A, neurologically hardwired stuff. The secret language your subconscious is fluent in, while your conscious mind is still trying to figure out how to say hello. So we're going to count down the most bizarre and revealing unconscious social cues your body betrays without you ever knowing. Imagine you walk into a crowded party. You scan the room, your eyes darting over strangers, and then you see her, your friend from college, standing by the snacks. Before you even have a chance to think, oh, hey, it's Sarah, your eyebrows do something incredible. For about 1/5 of a second, they shoot up and then drop back down. You didn't decide to do it. You probably didn't even feel it happen. But Sarah's brain saw it, registered it, and understood it perfectly. This tiny, lightning-fast movement is a genuine, documented, cross-cultural phenomenon known as the eyebrow flash. And we have a guy with a very Bond villain-sounding name to thank for it, Irenaeus Eibel Ebesfeld. Back in the 1960s, this Austrian ethologist, basically a professional people watcher, traveled the world with a special camera that had a sideways-facing lens. This allowed him to film people without them knowing, capturing their raw, unfiltered behavior. He filmed people in Samoa, Japan, Papua New Guinea, France, you name it. And everywhere he went, he saw the same thing. When two people who knew and liked each other spotted one another from a distance, they would perform this identical, rapid eyebrow raise. It was a universal, long-distance, I see you and I am not a threat. It's a signal of friendly recognition. Think of it as your brain's nonverbal version of firing off a text that just says, hey. It's so deeply ingrained that even some species of monkeys do it. It's a primal social bonding tool that says, we're cool. But here's where it gets interesting and a little bit terrifying. The absence of the eyebrow flash is just as powerful. If you see someone you know and they don't give you that quick, unconscious flash, it's a major red flag. Their subconscious is telling your subconscious that something is off. They might be angry with you, they might feel threatened, or they might simply want to avoid an interaction. They can fake a smile, they can force a wave, but they can't fake the flash. It's too fast, too automatic, so next time you're wondering if someone is genuinely happy to see you, don't look at their mouth, watch their brows. They're the most honest part of their face. You're sitting in the most boring meeting of your life. Your boss has been droning on for 45 minutes about synergy or leverage or some other word that has lost all meaning. You are looking at him, nodding politely, projecting the image of a perfect, engaged employee, but your body is plotting its escape. You glance at the clock, 4:59 p.m., one more minute. Just as your boss is winding up for what you pray is his final point, you do it. You shift your weight to the balls of your feet. You pull your legs just slightly further under your chair. Maybe you even rest your hands on your knees. You haven't stood up. You haven't moved. But you've done everything except stand up. These are called intention movements. It's the physical prologue to an action. Your brain has already made the decision to bolt out of that door, and it's sending the first few milliseconds of electrical signal of the relevant muscles. It's the aborted start of a full body movement. Think of it like a car's engine turning over before it actually roars to life. These are the twitches and shifts that broadcast your next move before you've consciously committed to it. This is a deep evolutionary classic. In the wild, you see it everywhere. A bird will crouch and gather its legs just before taking flight. A cat will wiggle its butt right before it pounces on a laser dot. They are telegraphing their intent. For them, it's about preparing the body for a rapid, explosive movement. For us modern apes in our corporate jungles, the stakes are a little lower, but the wiring is the same. When you want to interrupt someone in a conversation, you might do a tiny, sharp intake of breath just before you speak. That's your body priming your lungs. When you're getting tired of a conversation at a party, you'll slowly start to angle your feet and torso towards the nearest exit. Professionals who need to read people for a living, like police interrogators, security personnel, and high-stakes poker players, are trained to spot these intention movements. It's how they can tell if someone is about to run, about to lie, or about to fold with a terrible hand. So while your mouth is saying, "This is fascinating, please continue," your feet are pointing at the door screaming, "Let me out of here." Your body is a terrible, terrible actor. It just can't help but spoil the ending. Have you ever been deep in conversation with a friend and you suddenly realize you're sitting in the exact same slightly weird, slumped over position they are? Or you notice you've started using that little hand-wringing thing they do when they're thinking? Or maybe you're nodding along and you find your nods have perfectly synced up to their speaking rhythm. For a split second, you might think, am I a weirdo? Am I consciously copying them? The answer is no, you're not doing it on purpose. But yes, you are absolutely copying them. This is called the chameleon effect, and it's one of the most fundamental and subconscious aspects of human social interaction. The term was coined in a 1999 study by researchers Chartrand and Barg. They set up a simple experiment where a participant would have a conversation with a researcher who was secretly an actor. In some sessions, the actor would intentionally and repeatedly do a subtle movement, like rubbing their face. In other sessions, they would tap their foot, and the results were insane. The participants, with no awareness of what they were doing, started unconsciously mimicking the actor. When the actor rubbed their face, the participant started rubbing their own face. When the actor tapped their foot, the participant's foot started tapping away. So why does our brain do this? The leading theory points to a special set of brain cells called mirror neurons. These neurons are miraculous. They fire when you perform an action, like picking up a cup of coffee. But they also fire when you simply watch someone else pick up a cup of coffee. It's your brain running a simulation of their action in your own head. This is the bedrock of empathy. It's how we understand what others are feeling and doing. The chameleon effect is the physical manifestation of this. By subtly mirroring someone's posture and mannerisms, your brain is sending them the most primitive social signal there is. I am with you, I get you. We are the same. It's a powerful social glue. In fact, Chartrand and Barg found that when the actor intentionally mimicked the participant later reported liking that actor significantly more. It builds rapport on a level that bypasses conscious thought entirely. So the next time you want to get someone to like you, forget witty banter. Just wait for them to scratch their ear and then casually scratch your own. It's creepy, it's manipulative, and according to science, it totally works. Let's talk about your eyeballs for a second, specifically the black dots in the middle, your pupils. You've been told your whole life that they get bigger in the dark and smaller in the light, and that's their main job. And you're not wrong. It's a mechanical process managed by your autonomic nervous system to control how much light smacks into your retina. But that same automated system, the one that handles your heart rate, your breathing, and your fight or flight response, has another much sneakier trigger for your pupils: mental effort and desire. This is called the pupillary response, and it's one of the most honest signals your body produces. When your brain is working hard, like when you're trying to solve a tough math problem or remember a specific detail, your pupils dilate. When you see something or someone you find intensely interesting, attractive, or desirable, your sympathetic nervous system yanks on the levers and your pupils get wider. There's nothing you can do about it. It's a direct, unfiltered window into your level of arousal and cognitive load. In the 1960s and 70s, a psychologist named Eckhard Hess became obsessed with this. He conducted studies where he would show people images and secretly measure their pupil size. He found that, surprise, surprise, men's pupils got wider when they looked at pictures of attractive women. Women's pupils got wider when they looked at attractive men, and also when they looked at pictures of babies. But it goes way beyond simple attraction. When he gave people math problems, their pupils would steadily dilate as they worked through the problem, reaching their maximum size the very instant they arrived at the solution. It was a perfect, real-time graph of their mental exertion. This isn't just some fun party trick. It has been used and exploited for centuries. In Renaissance Italy, women used eye drops made from the belladonna plant, which literally translates to beautiful woman, to artificially dilate their pupils, making them appear more alluring and interested. In modern times, advertisers have used a technique called pupillometry to test which version of a product's packaging or which ad layout literally grabs the most of a person's subconscious attention. And of course, professional poker players are notorious for watching an opponent's pupils when a crucial card is dealt. A sudden dilation can betray that the card just completed their hand, no matter how cool they're trying to play it. Your brain thinks something is important, and your eyes immediately tell the world. So much for a poker face. Picture this. You're in a job interview. It's going okay, but then the interviewer leans in and asks a really tough question, one you weren't prepared for. Can you describe a time you failed and what you learned from it? As you scramble for an answer, you feel a nervous energy build up, and your hand, as if it has a mind of its own, moves up to the back of your neck and starts rubbing it. Or maybe you start stroking your own arm or fiddling with your watch strap. You're not doing it for any logical reason. You're doing it because your inner anxious monkey just took over. These are called pacifying behaviors, or sometimes adapters. They are a set of repetitive, self-soothing actions our bodies automatically deploy when we're under stress, duress, or even just feeling awkward. This isn't a conscious choice, it's a deep-seated neurological reflex. When you get stressed, your limbic system, the primitive, emotional part of your brain that handles threat detection, goes on high alert. To calm itself down, it instructs your body to perform a repetitive, gentle, tactile action. Why? Because stimulating nerve endings in this way, stroking your neck, rubbing your face, tapping your fingers, sends calming signals back to the brain. It's the adult equivalent of a baby sucking its thumb or a child clutching a security blanket. The neck is a particularly common spot, as rubbing it stimulates the vagus nerve, a major component of the system that calms your body down after a stress response. It literally lowers your heart rate. Playing with hair, touching your lips, rubbing your forehead, it's all the same mechanism. Your brain is essentially telling itself, okay, the world is stressful right now, so let's focus on this simple, predictable, physical sensation instead of the impending sense of doom. Former FBI agent and body language guru Joe Navarro writes extensively about this. He notes that in an interrogation room, pacifying behaviors are one of the most reliable tells. If he asks a subject a benign question like, "What's your address?" they'll answer calmly. But if he asks, "Where were you on the night of the 15th?" and they suddenly start ventilating their shirt collar or rubbing their leg under the table, he knows that question has caused them significant psychological discomfort. It doesn't prove they're lying, but it proves the question hit a nerve. So watch for it. These little self-hugs and self-strokes are your body's unconscious attempt at damage control, broadcasting your inner turmoil for anyone who knows what to look for. Think back to your first day at a new job or school. You find your assigned desk, a sterile, anonymous rectangle of space. You cautiously place your laptop dead center. You line up a single pen and a notepad next to it. Your personal effects occupy maybe 10% of the total surface area. Everything is neat, contained, and apologetic. Now fast forward 6 months. That same desk has become a sprawling empire. Your coffee mug has claimed the Northeast Territory. A stack of papers you haven't touched in weeks has colonized the West. Your lucky stapler acts as a fortress wall, and your bag is on the floor, creating a defensive perimeter. You didn't plan this gradual hostile takeover. Your inner primate did. This is a classic territorial display, and it's a powerful nonverbal declaration of ownership, comfort, and status. It's a core concept in proxemics, the study of how we use space. This isn't just about how close you're willing to stand to someone. It's about how we use our bodies and our belongings to claim and defend turf. It's a behavior hardwired into us from our animal ancestors. Just like a wolf marks its territory, humans use objects to signal to others, "This is mine." When we feel powerful, confident, and secure, we expand. In a meeting, the person who leans back in their chair, drapes an arm over the adjacent seat, and spreads their notes all over the table is nonverbally shouting, "I am in charge here." These are expansive, high-power postures. Conversely, when we feel insecure, nervous, or subordinate, we shrink. We physically contract. We keep our elbows tucked into our sides, we hold our belongings tightly in our lap, and we try to take up as little physical space as possible. Think of the person in the corner of the waiting room, hunched over their phone, versus the person lounging across 3 seats on a mostly empty bus. One is broadcasting vulnerability, the other is broadcasting dominance. This silent, constant negotiation for space happens everywhere. Watch people in a coffee shop. The person who is just there for a quick coffee keeps their things in a tight, neat pile. The person who is settled in for a long work session has their coat on one chair, their laptop open, and their power cord snaking across the floor like an invading vine. Their body and their stuff are working in tandem to create a bubble of personal territory. Your desk isn't just a place to work. It's a nonverbal resume of your psychological state. So maybe it's time to let your inner gorilla breathe a little. Just try not to get a memo from HR about it. You think you have a good poker face? Seriously, you think you can receive a terrible birthday gift from your aunt and still produce a smile that says, a hand-knitted sock puppet? I've always wanted one. You think you can lie to your boss about why you were late and sell it with a look of pure, innocent sincerity? Well, I'm sorry to inform you, but for about 1/15th of a second, your face is a snitch. Meet the micro-expression. It's an involuntary, full-face emotional expression that flashes across your face in a fraction of a second, revealing the emotion you are genuinely feeling before you can consciously suppress it. We have the legendary psychologist Dr. Paul Ekman to thank for this little slice of existential dread. In the 1960s, Ekman proved something revolutionary, that there are 7 universal emotions with facial expressions that are recognized all over the world, regardless of culture. Happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, disgust, and contempt. He traveled to the jungles of Papua New Guinea to study the isolated 4 people who had virtually no exposure to the outside world and found they made the exact same faces for these emotions as someone in New York or Paris. They are innate. They are hardwired. Here's where he discovered the leak. He would run experiments where he'd have people watch a truly gruesome medical video but instruct them to lie and pretend they were watching a pleasant nature video. As they watched the gory footage, they'd smile and say, "Oh, what lovely flowers." But when Ekman reviewed the tapes in slow motion, he saw it. Just for a flash, a half-second before the fake smile appeared, their face would contort into a mask of pure, unadulterated disgust. That was the micro-expression. Your brain has 2 different neural pathways for controlling your face. The first is the conscious path, which you use to smile for a photo. The second is the unconscious emotional path that makes you genuinely smile at a joke. When you try to lie, you're using the conscious path to create a fake expression, but your real feelings trigger the unconscious path first. For a split second, the real emotion wins and flashes across your face before your brain can wrestle it back under control and put on the mask. It's a neurological glitch in your personal firewall, and it is the ultimate tell. Most people don't notice them in real time, but with training, it's possible. It's like your face has a built-in fact checker, and it has zero loyalty to the lies you're trying to tell. You've definitely heard this one before. It's a staple of TV crime dramas and those How to Read Anyone paperbacks you see at the airport. The theory goes like this. If a right-handed person looks up and to their right, they're accessing the creative part of their brain to construct an image, which means they're lying. If they look up and to their left, they're accessing the memory part of their brain to recall an image, meaning they're telling the truth. It's a neat, tidy, and incredibly tempting trick for becoming a human lie detector. It's also, for the most part, complete garbage. But it's wrong in a very interesting way. This whole idea comes from a model in neurolinguistic programming, or NLP, called eye-accessing cues. And for years, nobody really put it to a rigorous scientific test. Until 2012, when a group of psychologists, including the famous debunker Richard Wiseman, decided to finally see if it held up. They filmed one group of volunteers, some telling the truth and some telling lies. Then they showed the footage to another group and told them about the NLP IQ theory. The result? The lie catchers were no better than chance. Their accuracy was a miserable 50-50. There was zero reliable correlation between the direction of someone's gaze and whether or not they were lying. So does that mean looking at someone's eyes is useless? Not at all. The theory was just focused on the wrong variable. The important clue isn't where a person looks, but the simple act of them looking away in the first place. Think about it. Maintaining direct eye contact while talking is incredibly taxing on your brain. You have to formulate your thoughts, read the other person's facial expressions, and deal with the social pressure of a direct stare all at once. When you need to do something mentally difficult, like recalling a complex, multi-part memory or constructing a plausible, detailed lie, your brain needs to free up resources. So what does it do? It breaks eye contact. It forces you to look away, often at a blank space like a wall or the ceiling, to reduce the incoming data stream. This minimizes distractions and allows you to dedicate more processing power to the difficult internal task. Because lying is often more cognitively demanding than telling the truth, liars might avert their gaze more often or for longer periods. But so will someone trying to remember the name of their third-grade teacher. The tell isn't deception, it's cognitive load. So stop trying to be Sherlock Holmes tracking eye darts. Instead, just watch for when they break contact. It's the moment their brain has to start working overtime. The reason why it's overheating is still for you to figure out. Imagine your friend tells you they finally got the big promotion they've been working towards for years. As they're telling you the story, their hands are alive. They're gesturing upwards, palms open, moving with a lightness that seems to defy the very concept of gravity. Their shoulders are back, their chin is up. Everything about them feels energetic and authentic. Now imagine that same friend telling you the exact same news, but this time their voice is a little flat. Their hands are resting limply on the table, or maybe making small, weak gestures that seem heavy, like they're pushing something down. Even if the words are the same, "I'm so excited," your gut would immediately sense that something is wrong. What you're picking up on is the principle of gravity-defying gestures. It's a concept that body language experts, particularly those in law enforcement like Joe Navarro, rely on heavily. It's based on a simple, powerful link between our limbic system, our emotional brain, and our physical relationship with gravity. When we are genuinely happy, excited, passionate, or confident, our brain is in a high-energy, positive state. This translates directly into physical lightness. We literally hold ourselves higher. Our posture straightens, our head lifts, and our hands and arms move in free, upward motions. Think about the universal human signal for victory, throwing your hands up in the air. We are fighting gravity. Conversely, when we feel sanihasa, depressed, insecure, ashamed, or defeated, our brain enters a low-energy state, and our bodies follow suit. We physically slump. Our shoulders round, our head hangs low, our feet might shuffle. Our gestures become small, lethargic, and directed downwards. It is the physical embodiment of being weighed down by our emotions. This creates a powerful conflict when someone is trying to fake an emotion. Their words might be positive, but their body, responding to their true negative feelings, stays heavy and grounded. It's an incredibly reliable indicator of a person's true emotional state because it is so difficult to fake. You can make yourself smile, but it's much harder to force your entire body to exhibit a genuine, energetic lightness when your brain is screaming that things are terrible. Words can lie, but physics is a little harder to fool. If someone's words are flying high but their hands are stuck to the floor, chances are their good mood is an illusion, weighed down by the truth. Let's end with some very simple biology. When you experience sudden, high-level stress, your brain doesn't distinguish between a physical threat, like a tiger, and an emotional threat, like being caught in a lie. It just knows one thing: danger. This triggers the limbic system's ancient fight-or-flight response. Adrenaline floods your system, your heart rate skyrockets, your blood pressure climbs, and as a direct result, your core body temperature begins to rise. Your brain is literally preparing your body for a full sprint escape or a knockdown, drag-out fight, even if the threat is just your boss asking why a report is late. Your body is overheating and it needs to cool down fast. Now, since unbuttoning your shirt and frantically fanning your chest is generally considered a career-limiting move, your subconscious has a much more subtle and much more revealing way of handling it. It's a behavior called ventilating. Under stress, a person will unconsciously try to create airflow to the most vascular parts of their body to cool the blood and, by extension, calm the brain. It is one of the single most honest and reliable tells that a person is experiencing extreme discomfort. This is the holy grail for interrogators and human behavior experts. The classic example is a man grabbing his tie and pulling it away from his neck, or sticking a finger in his shirt collar and yanking it. He's not adjusting his clothes, he's trying to get air onto his neck to activate his body's emergency cooling system. For women, this behavior can often be more subtle. It might manifest as playing with a necklace at the base of the throat, or fluffing their hair up at the back of the neck. It's the same principle. Introduce air to a heat-sensitive area to manage a spike in stress-induced body temperature. Imagine an investigator questioning a suspect. They ask a series of routine questions, and the suspect is cool as a cucumber. Then the investigator slides a single damning piece of evidence across the table. A photo, a receipt, a text message. Before the suspect even says a word, their hand shoots up to their collar and gives it a little pull. Bingo, that's the moment. The investigator knows with near certainty that the information has landed with the force of a physical blow. The suspect's brain has hit the panic button, their internal temperature is rising, and their body is betraying them completely. It's the ultimate signal that you've struck a nerve, and it's as clear and undeniable as a fire alarm. So there you have it, a whole dictionary for the secret language your body is speaking behind your back. It's a constant stream of truths your conscious mind would rather keep hidden. If you want to find out what other shenanigans your brain is up to, make sure you are subscribed for the next video.